Order. It is 9 a.m. Thank everybody for being here this morning on a rainy Texas morning. We needed some rain, so thank God for that. If everyone could please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's at the back of the room. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, the mission of the Texas State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners is to establish and enforce policies to ensure the best quality of veterinary and equine dental provider services for the state of Texas. Mrs. Whitehead, will you please call the roll?
Dr. Gola,
Present.
Dr. Kreiner,
Present.
Dr. Skaggs.
Here.
Miss Sue Allen,
Here.
Mr. Pardue,
There.
Miss Olivier,
Present.
Dr. McLeod,
Present.
Dr. Muchigamba,
Here.
Victoria Whitehead present.
Okay, we have a full board this morning. Thank y'all for your attendance. Moving on to agenda item number 2, consideration and approval of January 20th, 2026 minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move. Second.
Okay, it's been moved in seconds. Is there any discussion about the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say aye. Okay, motion carries. The minutes are approved. All right, moving on to public comments. Agenda item number 3. Please be advised that our comments must be limited to 3 minutes and that we will have to strictly enforce that this morning. So we're gonna have a timer for y'all run by Dr. Kreiner. You'll be able to watch your time, and when the buzzer goes off, your time is up. In order to be able to hear everybody, we want to make sure that we are mindful of the time. Additionally, the board will not hear public comment or testimony regarding a pending disciplinary action or contested case. I do sincerely want to thank everybody for being here today. I think the audience here is exactly what we've asked for in terms of public comment to help us with our mission. And so thank y'all sincerely, especially with the rain, for making the trip. We're glad you're here. We take your comments seriously. I will remind everybody, though, this is public comments. We're not allowed, due to our Public Meetings Act rules, to have a discussion. But we do sincerely want to hear what you have to say as we move forward with our chapter. So with that, I'll call up the virtual comments first, as per our process, and we will start with Karen Storm. Karen, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Can you see us, and can you see the timer or not?
Pardon me?
Can you see the timer?
If you put it in front of Miss Olivier.
Perfect.
I'm so sorry, I missed that question.
We'll just let you know when your time is up. Okay.
Oh, I understand completely. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, you may start.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to express my concern. My concern is the monetization of the veterinary practices and acquisition by private equity firms. My own vet, who was wonderful, the practice has been acquired by a private equity firm. My specific concern is seeking care and trying to find the best care for our pets. It's difficult to communicate with these people. They keep the veneer of a friendly practice, but it's really run by private equity firms. My specific concern is with an animal I had. The practice refused to write a prescription for my pet. This forced me to buy the medicine from them in a form that was liquid and was not very palatable for her. Also, it's more expensive. They made disparaging remarks about writing prescriptions about places like Chewy or 1-800-PET-MEDS and would not write it for my own pharmacy. And I therefore could not obtain it in a form that was more palatable for her. And as a senior pet, it was difficult to start over with a new veterinarian late in care. So I'm just concerned about this. I'm concerned about the care for our animals and where we going forward, and how to seek a veterinary practice that is concerned with the values of the care of the patient first and foremost. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Storm. Next up, we have Michael Hinojosa.
Give me 1 second, please. Okay, my name is Michael Hinojosa. I experienced a really bad experience. My dog was killed, and when I say killed, I have taken my dog and to a new vet, and they prescribed me some medication along with the vaccination back in April of 24. And after I gave my dog the medication because I had mentioned that she scratched very seldom, but they provided me with two prescriptions, two drugs, along with the vaccination. And 3 days later, she started getting droggy. I don't want to. I don't know if you have the report, but has been 2 years ago, and I'm not gonna express my anger because I already went through that. I lost my job, and you have no clue what the experience. I was in the mix of traveling from Texas to Montana with Hannah, and as she lied, uh, she, mm, she had lied. She had passed away on the way to Montana, but I'm just a little concerned. After I had contacted the new vet, and the only reason that I had taken my dog to the new vet was because it was closer, and I was in the process of leaving. But I am a little concerned once I contacted that particular vet, there was no communication, no explanation as far as to why my dog died. And she was healthy, and 2 days prior to her to going to the new veterinarian, we were at the parks and she was chasing birds and she was quite healthy, and nothing is being done. I'm just very quickly. It's been 2 years and no one has contacted me or with any concerns or the status of as to why my dog passed after taking her to the new veterinarian. And with the medications, I followed the description is what to give her, and I was extremely saddened of her death. So and she was quite healthy, and I'm just a little concerned. It's been
Mr.
2 years,
Hinojosa?
and
Mr. Hinojosa,
yes.
your time has expired. Thank you. We appreciate your comment. Okay, next up is Brian Gibson.
Good morning. I have two discussion points I'd like to bring for the board. The first comment that I have for the board is how you contact me is extremely important. The license holder should have a choice in how they receive information. And I think that during my renewal process, I was given an option. It says that I need to have required to have a personal email. This is not my preference. Most of the things that I look for in there are because of purpose, and I don't see them on a regular basis, but I prefer my work email. I'm not sure if this is going to be cleared up. This is one of the things that I wanted to make a comment about. My proposal is that you consider sending texts with information to request to check the email system or send direct text to the individuals if possible. just this past year, the Texas registration for my car actually uses txt.texas.gov, and they were able to. I got 2 notifications prior to my car. So this is just one example of how it's being used in other Texas government. The second discussion point that I have for you concerns Section 801-307, continuing education. The requirement to complete every 2 years of CE for the controlled substance, opioid abuse, and controlled substance diversion clause for the 2 hours that are there. I am requesting clarification. It says every 2 years, and so for every 2 years just needs to be done prior to the next renewal, or is it essential it be done 2 years from date to date? And this is the clarification I'm asking for. So an example would be is my United States Department of Agricultural certification requires that it be done anytime between now and the next recertification process. And then I can submit those within a 6-month period. So those are my 2 comments having to do with those 2 items. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Next, we have Amy Hayek. Amy, are you with us? I'll circle back around. Next, I have Dr. William Ormston.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So my comments are about the rules. A couple rules in specific. They would be Rule 573.16 on acupuncture, 573.17 on holistic medicine, 573.18 on homeopathy, and 573.82 on laser therapy. My comments are that none of these are really taught in vet school, but yet you're giving licensees the sole exclusivity to practice these modalities without any further training. I have advanced training in animal chiropractic and homeopathy, but not acupuncture or laser, but yet it's perfectly legal for me to do any of those 4 things. And I think that we need to have a committee that uses these modalities look into who should be practicing these modalities. Like chiropractors should be allowed to practice on animals without supervision if they have advanced training. Just like a veterinarian that saw somebody do it once should not be allowed to do chiropractic on an animal. And then the other rule that I would have some exception with is 573.24, the responsibility of veterinarian to refer a case. I see numerous animals that come to me where the owners are distraught, their animal is paralyzed, and they've been given 2 options, euthanasia or very expensive surgery, and they've actually been told not to go to a chiropractor. When you're done playing with a chiropractor, let me know, but your chances of survival or improvement with chiropractic are slim to nothing, and we have pretty good response. Those are my comments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ormston. Next, I have Leticia Herrera.
Hello. May I begin?
You may begin.
President Goya, members of the board. My name is Leticia Herrera, and I'm here regarding complaints CP 25-189, CP 25-190, CP 26-0182, and CP 26-0183 against Dr. Eduardo Guevara and Dr. Jennifer Evans of Callahan Road Animal Hospital. My comments are based strictly on medical records and board rules. The recommendation to dismiss relies on treating record-keeping flexibility as evidence that the standard of care was met. Those are not the same. Rules allowing amendments do not permit the retrospective reconstruction of medical history to justify a clinical outcome. Second, you are asked to accept 3 materially different versions of the same record as complete and accurate. Forensics show these deletions lack the required dates, times, or initials. Some were transmitted from a personal AOL account to avoid audit logs, as proven by the digital forensic report in your packet. Critically, the panel accepted undocumented offers of referrals that do not appear in any of the 3 versions of the medical record. Furthermore, they accepted a type O defense regarding the diagnosis despite a necropsy confirming discal spondylitis. This allows verbal claims to override physical evidence, violating section 573.52. Most concerning, you were asked to agree that a dog with a platelet count of 31,000 actively bleeding can be sent home with instructions to buy an over-the-counter vitamin K supplement. That instruction was added a year later by Dr. Evans in an HTML file sent from a personal account. A prudent veterinarian would have provided prescription vitamin K1 or referred for immediate emergency care. Sending an owner to a grocery store for an ineffective product during a bleeding crisis is a violation of section 573.22. By recommending dismissal, the panel is also excusing the licensee's repeated failure to respond to this board's governing authority, ignoring deadlines and record requests for months. I respectfully ask you to reject the dismissal recommendation and advance these complaints to SOA if the board accepts reconstructed records and allows its authority to be ignored, then the standard of care in Texas has no meaning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Herrera.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Kate Kirkland.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you all for taking the time to hear me. Today marks my 1 year that my baby girl was taken from me.
But it's so stupid, it's ridiculous.
Her birthday was, excuse me, this is a hard day for me. Her birthday was February 18th, 2011. And as of April 7th, 2025, I contacted my vet. She was known to have a softball-sized tumor that was sitting on the side of her neck. She had once had that removed back in September of 2023 when she was 12. And then 2 years later, on, like I said, April 7th, she had a consultation. April 11th, she was given an antibiotic by San Angelo Vet Hospital. So there is acknowledgement on the 11th. I was told to send emails with pictures. I contacted them daily to ask them, did you see these? Did you see these? And on, excuse me, April 18th, I had contacted them. This was the day before Good Friday. I was told by that receptionist, Stella can wait until Monday. She's fine, put some peroxide on it. That was not good to me. I am a dog mom of, I can't tell you, 15 years. I went to a wound care vet. They cut it back. This thing was enormous. They told me there is healthy tissue, but she may need to go to an emergency vet. I took her to an emergency vet. That vet, long story short, she told me, you know what, let me get her on the schedule, but I can't contact my clients until Monday, as it is Good Friday. I feel that they were negligent. This was not a standard of care. Standard of care, that is bare minimum to me in this regard. This is negligence. They allowed her to go to a ruptured tumor and bleed out. As of 1 a.m. on the 22nd, Stella died. She was gasping for air, and in her final days, she had to wear a coverage over her neck with Neosporin. Stella, yes, she was 14 years, 2 months, 3 days. And I understand that it's not going to bring her back. I understand, but I feel to dismiss this, again, It is negligent on San Angelo Vet Hospital's part to deny her that treatment, to not contact me, and to have that final email sent. I had to send it along to another email to be contacted back. And that vet did contact me that Monday saying, oh, did Stella eat? Did Stella eat that morning? Because they finally acknowledged my email. They acknowledged those.
Ms. Kirkland, your time is up.
Yes,
Sorry.
ma'am.
Thank
Or
you.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Amy Hayek, are you back? Amy, we see you, but I think you're muted. Can we help her? Amy, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
There we go. I got it.
Okay, you may begin.
Sorry. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dr. Amy Hayek, and I am a co-owner of one of the premier animal chiropractic schools here in Texas. We train veterinarians and chiropractors to both perform animal chiropractic, and we find that when they're in class together, it actually enhances their experience and their understanding of what they're doing. I wanted to speak today specifically on the supervision requirements in Chapter 573. And as written, these changes don't clearly serve any stakeholders involved, not veterinarians, not practitioners, and not the animal owners that we ultimately serve. First, there's a problem with efficiency. You are asking veterinarians to spend, somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes supervising procedures that they don't have training in. That increases time, it increases cost, and it reduces capacity without demonstrating improved outcomes. Second, standards. Veterinarians are expected to determine in real time who's qualified to perform services like animal chiropractic, acupuncture, or PMF. As my husband, Dr. O, earlier mentioned, there are already rules on many of these services. So I'll ask directly, what objective standard is the board providing for that determination, and how is that evaluated consistently in a barn, a field hall, or a busy clinic? One of the things that I see this as being an immense economic problem for are our 4-H and FFA students. I don't think acupuncture and chiropractic is limited to horses. 4-H and FFA use acupuncture and chiropractic extensively, and these are the budding farmers and ranchers of our community who will go out to raise livestock and build their family farms. Third, liability. These rules increase responsibility for veterinarians without clearly defining how those relationships are structured or verified. How is a veterinarian supposed to assume responsibility for care they did not perform under unclear conditions? That's not a small issue. That's a risk management problem. And finally, access to care. These practitioners are not the source of corporate consolidation in veterinary medicine. They're not driving the takeover of rural veterinary practices. These rules will impact them. And when you make collaboration more difficult, more time consuming, and more legally uncertain, veterinarians will step back.
Dr. Hayek, your time has expired. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I believe that's all the public online comments that we've got.
Mr. Ormston is on there?
We talked to Dr. Ormston already. Yeah. All right, next up, we're going to do in person. We've got a chair that we'll invite y'all to come up to. I'm not calling these up in any particular order, but we'll still have a 3-minute rule. So when I call you up, if you'll come to the chair, state your name, and you may begin. So first up, I've got, and if I mispronounce names, I apologize, Dylan Youngblood.
Hello, I'm Dylan Youngblood. I am a student at Parker University. I'm part of the Animal Chiropractic Club, and I'm just came up here to say that I preemptively support what Dr. Bodnar is going to come up here and say.
Okay, next up, I have Dr. Luann Gross.
Members of the board, my name is Dr. Luann Groves. I have served as a licensed veterinarian for 46 years and an equine osteopath for 20 years. I am here to propose a regulatory solution that addresses the critical shortage of equine specialized care while ensuring the highest standards of public safety. The reality of the Texas equine industry is that we're home for 750,000 horses. We have an industry here contributing $12.3 billion annually to our state's economy. Yet, we face a well-documented shortage of equine veterinarians. In the field, osteopaths could fill this gap. Often they see 20 to 30 horses at a single barn in several days. Currently, most veterinarians are not trained in osteopathic assessment. It is neither practical nor clinically sound to require a non-trained veterinarian to examine every horse prior to osteopathic work. The osteopath has been trained in an intensive 4-year program. They've been taught to perform the initial evaluation to determine if a horse is a safe candidate for treatment. My proposed solution is the dental model. We are not asking the board to reinvent the wheel. We're asking you to recognize equine osteopaths under the same proven framework that's used for licensed equine dental providers. The Worldwide Alliance of Equine Osteopaths, called WAEO, is prepared to work under this board's authority to administer standards. Our members, including those with doctorates in health science and education, are ready to oversee formal testing and licensing. We can ensure competency. Only those who pass rigorous written and practical exams would be licensed. And you will provide oversight. The model brings practitioners out of the shadows and under the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners jurisdiction. That ensures transparency and accountability. In conclusion, our goal is not to bypass veterinary oversight, but to formalize it in a way that reflects the realities of modern care. By adopting the equine dental provider model for osteopathy, the board protects Texas horses, supports overworked veterinarians, and ensures the public has access to safe, regulated manual therapy. I respectfully ask the board to initiate a review process to explore this regulatory pathway. I will leave you a handout because I know you're not discussing that today, but I've set up a comparison of regulatory frameworks with equine dentists, and it's quite the same, very similar. It should work. Thank you for your time, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for being here. Okay, next I have Heather Katiba.
Good morning, Chair, board members. Thank you for your time. Provided to each one of you is a prepared brief, a brief for myself. At your leisure, please take the time to review. And if I can be of any assistance further, clarification on any points, please feel welcome to reach out to me after the meeting. Licensure is intended to ensure that individuals authorized by the state meet a minimum competency standards and to protect the public from unsafe licensees. That is the core legislative intent of the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners. Licensure indicates permission to practice medicine, not that someone is skilled, ethical, or safe. This is demonstrated in your own statistics. Currently, 10% or more of active licensees register as having sanctions against their license. That's a 1 in 10 potential encounter for the public. The biggest risks to the public are coming from licensed professionals not the unlicensed ones. We must acknowledge this is an agency exiting positive reform while facing simultaneously a surge of licensee violators within the existing scope of practice, including but not limited to drug addiction offenses, controlled substance diversion, abuse, federal sex trafficking indictments, gross malpractice, standard of care violations, patient torture, dishonest practices, multi-state preventable outbreaks of deadly disease, and many repeat violators. This is to name a few. These are not hypotheticals. This is current. In this meeting alone, over 30 potential cases will be added to that count. This board is one of the very limited public avenues for redress. Code and statute changes are to be based on clear data, measurable outcomes, clear language. Solutions are not based in ambiguity, inconsistency, or emotionally charged phrasing. Strong regulation is not a punishment nor a threat to the professional licensure. I support the profession and the unwavering need for public safety by means of this agency and regulation grounded in its core purpose. Thank you.
Stephen. Next, I have Dr. Rebecca McGill.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Becky McGill. I'm a licensed doctor of chiropractic in the state of Texas, practicing on animal chiropractic for 16 years and teaching for 15 years with the Parker University Animal Chiropractic Program, where we teach veterinarians and licensed chiropractors how to perform and safely adjust vertebral subluxations in animals. Because of the proposed rule you all were offering, I wanted to provide an important perspective on how the rule language could ultimately restrict qualified care and access for animals. Because animal chiropractic exists today, it actually exists in the form that a chiropractor started it. We have historical recognition from the founders of chiropractic that animals were adjusted more than a century ago, long before our modernized and current certification programs were formally developed. These early experiences have helped lay the groundwork for what eventually became the collaborative training programs that brought veterinarians and chiropractors together in this field. Today, I spend time teaching those skills to both licensed chiropractors and veterinarians through postgraduate certification programs, including how to identify what a chiropractic subluxation actually is, how to distinguish what is not a subluxation, how to perform safe and effective adjustments, and how to recognize when a case should be referred back for medical veterinary care. If I'm qualified to teach these skills to both chiropractors and veterinarians, would it be reasonable to assume that I also am qualified to recognize those conditions in clinical practice? The proposal of 573 rule language would have required veterinarians to determine the exact spinal segments that chiropractors are permitted to adjust. Respectfully, if a veterinarian must determine the exact chiropractic adjustment to be performed without any training, then the board may unintentionally be placing veterinarians into the position of practicing chiropractic without a license. Another way to think about this would be asking your medical doctor to tell a chiropractor exactly when and where and how to perform their duties. These are completely separate and distinct healing art forms, medicine and chiropractic, each with its own philosophy, training, and methods for evaluating care and caring for living beings. This is why I find it so crucial that we protect the collaboration that has been started. No veterinarian should be required to personally or professionally assume liability or care that another licensed professional is fully certified and trained and insured to correctly perform. For these reasons, I respectfully ask the board to allow properly trained and certified animal chiropractors and those holding ABCA, IVCA, or equivalent certifications access to directly treat animals within the state of Texas. That is what's best for the animals. That is what's best for the owners. That is what's best for access and corrected chiropractic care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anita Ross.
Dr. K. Ferrazano Singletary chose to end Pirate's life on April 14, 2020, based upon false statements withholding critical information. Her egregious behavior, refusal to release Pirate to us, had been ignored by this board and effectively covered up through legal department misconduct. I filed my complaint on April 20th, 2020. That was 6 years ago yesterday. I remain fully engaged with the board, Sunset, legislators, governor's office, and TDLR. I've spoken before the board at every TDLR meeting, presenting the facts and formally requesting compliance of 801-208C, notification to complainant regarding complaint disposition. This lawful requirement, clearly stated within the board's own rules, has been ignored. We waited 532 days for the informal conference on October the 4th of 2021. Dr. Jessica Quillivan and Ms. Sharkey. It was completely unprofessional travesty of justice. My legal counsel was denied and it was abruptly terminated without notice. Multiple potential violations were identified by the investigator. They were all ignored, including the fact that Dr. Ferrazano and her attorney, veterinarian Donald Farrell, never responded to the request by the investigator to cooperate with the board, which is a direct violation of the rules of professional conduct. An email from Ms. Sharkey sent several days later stated, quote, the board ultimately found no violation of the board's rules of professional conduct. I later received a letter dated November the 10th, 2022, drafted by John Hargis and Ms. Sharkey. This letter was dated 402 days after my informal conference. On May 7th of 23, I emailed Dr. Gola, newly appointed board president, providing detailed facts supporting my complaint and requesting a review. On May the 10th, Dr. Gola responded, I have read and reviewed your email correspondence. Thank you for sharing the documentation. I will review your scenario as requested, but it will take some time. I appreciate you providing and supporting documentation and detailed descriptions. I will be back in touch after reviewing. Again, this will take some time, end quote. At the February 20th, 25 meeting, I thanked Dr. Gola again for agreeing to review Pirate's case. At that point, it had been 655 days since that email response. On April the 22nd, 2025, I filed an open record request for rationale for dismissal. Ms. Phelps responded, providing the same letter previously mentioned. I responded detailing the factual inaccuracies again requested compliance. No response was ever provided. I have complied with all the board's procedures while waiting for the board to follow the Texas Veterinary Licensing Act and its own rules of professional conduct. Continued refusal to require this legally information is unacceptable. How do you justify this? If a member of your own family's life has been taken under the same circumstances as a pirate, would you simply move on, as I was told by Ms. Sharkey and Mr. Hargis, or would you pursue the truth and justice? How can Ms. Sharkey serve as the vice chair at the Austin's Ethics Commission and overseeing this continued cover-up, including her direct involvement? This clearly represents hypocrisy. I have not moved on.
Okay, next up, I have Colton Woods.
Morning.
Morning.
So my name is Colton Woods, and I've been involved in the industry as a horse trainer for 15 plus years now. I'm approaching this as an industry impact on sections 573. Okay, I'm not an osteopath. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm actually just hire these people to help keep my horses working their best. And my main objective is I'm not a big fan of this format, to be personally honest with you. I like to have a conversation. So talking at each other is not my favorite kind of way of going about this. But I think the main objective here is we need a level of transparency of why did these rule regulations, why did the draft come into place? Why did it decide to get tabled for this particular meeting, right? All of us as an industry understand that from a very practical standpoint, none of us want a lower quality of care. All of us in this room, I have to believe, even as veterinarians, you choose to go down that path because you want to provide a higher level of care. All of us as animal owners in the industry want a higher level of care. When we look at patterns of how the modern human medical system has gone, it's not a very good pattern. And we're watching how the veterinary medicine side of things is going. We look at their vertical integration of insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, veterinary care companies, and how they come into alignment, right, in a monopolization. I have no personal problem as a veterinarian, a horse trainer, an osteopath. If you provide a high level of care and a high value to your clients, make millions, right? I'm a capitalist. I'm an entrepreneur. I believe that we all should be able to do very, very well when we provide a high level of care, right? And in this particular instance, the most concerning thing is that the practical application to how the rules are being changed in 573, which you have full jurisdiction to do through the state law, does not provide a practical solution within the industry because there is a shortage of veterinarians. The market is demanding that we need more chiropractors, we need more osteopaths, we need more dental because there's not enough people to go around. We need more veterinarians. And when that is the particular case, the market is the ultimate judge, right? We can have regulation in place, we can have licensing in place that allows to make sure that there are certified people involved. But ultimately, the best judge in our marketplace, thank the Lord that we live in the United States of America, is the market itself and making sure that there's more pathways and not more regulation, right? If more regulation is only going to benefit the people that have the capital and they're involved at these higher levels, the more regulation will ultimately penalize the people that are trying to play by the rules that get forced, right? And so we're on the same team. I want to continue the conversation, right? 3 minutes is not enough to solve this problem, unfortunately. And so I think that the main thing that we would be looking for here, or I would be looking for here, is more transparency of what the real objective is so we can have a real solution.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, next, I have Catherine Thomas.
Have it, thank you for having us. It's a serious situation for all of us. So I just have a few points that I want to make here. My name's Catherine Thomas, and I'm from Northeast Texas. I come from a lifetime of agriculture, horses, livestock, animals. You know, I have learned to pay attention to what's obvious and the things that work. I hang on to those, right? I'm also an equine osteopath trained by the Lugan Institute. I graduated or finished my test in 11. I'm sorry, I started in 11 and I finished in 14. I'm also a partner in a company that distributes PEMF machines to veterinarians as well as lay people. I'm also the person that trains people how to use the PEMF machines, veterinarians as well as lay people. Okay. I'm also part of a biotech company that is becoming an issue, or a venture is the word that we use. What I'm not is I'm not a veterinarian, okay? But I am trained in anatomy, physiology, and fascial systems. It's a strange word, right? My work centers on soft tissue, movement of functional patterns. I stand on someone, I stand here or sit. I expected to be standing up with the same goal, but we just approach that from different angles. Okay. Clients often move between us, seeking different perspectives, different stages of care. And in that process, we each contribute something that the other cannot. I have lots of relationships with veterinarians, and we work together to the betterment and the health of animals, not just horses. Someone said earlier about cattle and sheep, goats, and the occasional pig. What I do does not replace veterinary medicine, and veterinary medicine doesn't replace what I do either. This is not theoretical for me. This is what I do every day. And I'm a person who is blessed to be able to do what I love. Honestly, I would do it for free if somebody would pay my bills. So I'll ask that we would acknowledge the reality that, because when we step back from the language in these proposed changes, what we really are discussing is regulatory capture over who is allowed to participate in the care of animals and how. And I would encourage the board to consider that restricting professionals like myself will not remove the demand for this work. It'll only create division and reduce access and erode the trust that's been created by myself and others like me.
Very much. Sophie Hewitt.
I agree with. I just want to say that I agree with Dr. Brodner's statement and previous statements that have been made. So.
And next, I think it's Lori Mueller.
Thank you for giving me the chance to speak today. My name is Lori Mueller. I'm an equine osteopath and body worker, and I've been providing these services to Texans since 2008. My words are for the board, but also for the people in this room, as well as the people on the video. We have to continue to stand together as owners, osteopaths, body workers, PMF practitioners, massage therapists, Reiki masters, trainers, etc., and oppose the rule changes to 571 and 573. But even more so, we have to consider pushing this board to change the definition of veterinary medicine itself. Here is that definition, and it's 801.0025A. The diagnosis, I'll give that to veterinary medicine. Treatment, that's vague. Correction, vague. Change, vague. Manipulation, vague. Relief, vague. Prevention of animal disease, that's all veterinary medicine. Deformity, what is that? Defect, what is that? Injury, that's veterinary medicine. Or other physical condition, that's incredibly vague. Including the prescription or administration of a drug, biologic, or anesthetic. That's definitely veterinary medicine. Apparatus, what is that? Or other therapeutic or diagnostic substances. That's veterinary medicine. Or technique, that's vague. The rules of the Texas Vet Board should not be vague and should rule in the least restrictive way, not the most restrictive way. By being vague with this wording, it actually becomes the most restrictive way to rule. There is too much room for misinterpretation. The board will continue its overreach of claiming certain practices as theirs if this vagueness of words remains in the definition. When we get specific with the wording, it becomes less restrictive because there is no room for misinterpretation. These are the directions this board needs to take. Rules 801, 0.002, and the proposed 571 and 573 limit the public's access to these services for their animals. They should be able to choose what services they want for their animals. If this board is truly concerned with protecting the public and the welfare of animals, you would not be trying to limit the choices of the public when it comes to the care of their animals or unduly burdening them with financial burdens. The veterinary industry is already overworked. These rules will increase the burden on veterinarians that honestly don't even want to provide these services, don't want to oversee these services, and most in the field have no issues with practitioners providing these services. I asked the board to give the public proof of why these changes are necessary. Have there been abundant claims of horse owners that their animals have been harmed? Are the veterinarians asking for this more responsibility? I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next I have Brenda Mortensen, is that correct?
I'm all right.
This was the best.
Is it Monterey?
It's Dana Briggs. She was supposed to put my name and not her name.
Okay.
She just filled it out for me.
So Dana Briggs.
Yes, sir.
Y'all both aren't going to speak, just one?
Just me.
Yeah.
Okay. Dana Briggs, thank you.
I'm rejecting the dismissal because the board has already dismissed the doctor for failing to standard of care and agreed order DK, I think it's 2016-001. He's a repeated offender. In my case, he didn't just fail the standard, he admitted on tape performing an unnecessary procedure and then tried to blame his nurse. In current defense, he claimed my dog had cancer despite doing no single blood test. This matches the lack of professional integrity since seen in the prior disciplinary history. He makes up diagnosis to cover up his tracks. The purpose of a board is to protect public. Since he has already disciplined once and is now on record admitting malpractice and blaming staff. A, a dismissal is not option. He has not corrected his behavior since 2016. He is escalating and using police to block medical records.
Case number was that? You have the case number?
She took the
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Dana Hollinsworth.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I would like to comment on the proposed revisions to Rule 573.14 regarding animal chiropractic and musculoskeletal manipulation. I do so as a licensed chiropractor, private practitioner, and as a professor and department chair of chiropractic science at Parker University. I have too many jobs. I am responsible for education and clinical preparation of chiropractic students. I also help teach DCs and DVMs in Parker University's Animal Chiropractic Continuing Education course. This prepares our graduates to sit for a certification by the ABCA. From both an educational and clinical standpoint, I am concerned that the proposed rule reflects a misunderstanding of chiropractic training. There's misalignment clinical authority with demonstrated competency and creates unnecessary barriers to animal owners' access to appropriately trained providers. Classifying chiropractic as an alternative therapy in the practice of veterinary medicine is inaccurate. Chiropractic is a licensed healthcare profession with independent statutory authority, educational standards, and regulatory oversight. In Texas, chiropractors are licensed and regulated by the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners. In chiropractic education, students complete thousands of hours of doctoral level training in anatomy, physiology, neurology, biomechanics, and manual adjusting procedures. Those who pursue animal chiropractic certification complete extensive postgraduate education consisting of at least 210 hours that are specifically focused on animal anatomy, biomechanics, indications, contraindications, and species-appropriate application of the adjustment. They also learn when to refer back to the DVM. This training is then followed by written and practical exam through recognized certifying bodies. As an educator, I can attest that modern chiropractic training emphasizes measurable competency and skill testing. Manual skill development now includes force sensing table technology, which objectively measures preload force and speed of the adjustment. We use this technology at Parker to train our DCs and DVMs, and they really appreciate it because they finally understand what it is they're doing when they walk out of the program. Chiropractic is a distinct licensed healthcare profession with rigorous educational standards and increasingly objective methods for teaching, measuring, and ensuring competency. When performed by appropriately trained, certified chiropractors, it reflects advanced training, validated skill development, and a clearly defined clinical scope. Finding a way forward to let chiropractors trained in animal chiropractic work on animals without supervision would help relieve the strain on veterinarians. It would support collaborative care, and it would provide animal owners with more options for their animals. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next, I have Patrick Bodnar.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today. So my name is Patrick Bodnar, and I'm a doctor of chiropractic certified in animal chiropractic, and I'm here formally as my role with Parker University as the Vice Provost and Chief Compliance Officer, but also as an instructor within the university's animal chiropractic program. And through my experience as a current council member with the accrediting body, the Council on Chiropractic Education. But despite all that, I think most importantly, I'm here because I'm an owner of horses, and thanks to my daughters and my wife, of many dogs. And I face the challenges of making the appropriate decisions for the health of my animals. And I rely on a team of equine chiropractors and chiropractors that focus on canine health and other practitioners as well, who in concert with veterinary medicine help my animals. So with all that, I'm here before you today. And I understand that Rule 573.14 has been tabled today, but due to the impact of that, I just would like to make a few statements on that. And I'd like to just talk about 4 brief points. The first is scope authority. And in the revisions, I've noticed that foundationally, we understand that clear scope boundaries define authority. We know that. But when they're blurred, that can cause really an expansion or a creep of this authority within regulation. And I really do respect the work you do here in safeguarding the public and safeguarding animals. I truly do. That responsibility, though, does not really extend, though, into regulating other professions that are licensed, like chiropractic. Chiropractic is a separate statutory regulated profession in Texas. It's not a subset of veterinary medicine, and a regulatory gap, if there is one, does not necessarily create jurisdiction in that area. So there's something that needs to be discussed in that, and I hope you view me as someone who is willing to help with that discussion and certainly understands your point of view, and veterinarian's point of view, and also chiropractor's point of view and other professionals' point of view. Second, the rule defines musculoskeletal manipulation too broadly, really by grouping with other services, and these are fundamentally different. And third, there's an alignment of training and decision-making. Chiropractors are the ones who perform extensive postgraduate training in chiropractic adjustments, and veterinarians don't necessarily do that. And that then contributes to a problem with access in care when veterinarians are making those decisions. So thank you. I hope you take this to heart, and I'm willing to help in any way I can on behalf of the university. Thank you.
Okay. Last I have on the list here, and excuse me, I can't read this, Susan Locker.
I'm here commenting on 573. I know that's not part of what you're planning to do today, but I'm here representing myself as a 40-year horse owner. It is important to note that I have had excellent care from many professionals with regards to horses I have owned over the years. These include vets, chiropractors, osteopaths, equine dentists, massage therapists, body workers, and farriers. All these professionals have benefited my horse's health and well-being. It is important to note that I am the best judge of my horse's health and need, caring for them, riding them every day, working with trainers. I am the person that is responsible for those horses. Every horse is different and every breed is different. I currently own 3 Missouri Foxtrotters from ages of 20 to 28 years old. I need the ability to consult and work with each professional. This proposed new regulation, 571 and 573, would limit my choices to support my horse's health and well-being. As humans, there are no regulations saying that one doctor should decide my needs, that I have to go to one professional and he can or she can point me to somebody else. I can freely go to whatever type of specialist or doctor I need. That's the freedom we have in the United States of America and in Texas. Why then should we limit the choice of a horse owner and require the vet to choose and decide? This is irresponsible towards the vet as well. It puts them in a very difficult position, and they are then limited to their knowledge of what they are working with. This proposed regulation is onerous, it's unnecessary, and you need to really hear the other people here because they have made wonderful points. Both the osteopaths, the chiropractors, the horse trainer here, don't limit us as citizens of Texas to what we can do for our horses' health and what we can choose to help our horses in the best way because we own them, we pay for them, and we are responsible for them. Thank you very much for your consideration.
That concludes our public testimony that we have, so thank y'all very much for being here. We do appreciate all the comments and knowledge that y'all have shared. With that, we're going to move on to agenda item number 6, direct reports, and I will call on Ms. Brittany Sharkey for the executive director report.
Thank you, Dr. Gola. Board, it's an exciting time around the agency. If you can believe it, we are already starting our preparations for the 2027 legislative session. I myself can't believe that we are staring that down. On your agenda later today is a draft of our strategic plan. I want to thank Dr. Gola and Ms. Whitehead for their participation. We had 2 strategic planning town halls, one in February and one in March. We had almost 100 people attend across both strategic planning town halls, got a lot of really great feedback from licensees and members of the public. In addition, we, for the first time, had a strategic planning survey, which we launched online as part through our newsletter. We received over 75 responses to that survey, so a lot of that also went in to help inform the strategic plan in front of you today. In addition, we had internal sessions with both our staff and the board, and that yielded a lot of really positive results. So after we approve the strategic plan, hopefully today, the next step will be to have a legislative appropriations request draft for you all to approve at our July meeting. And again, that'll help sort of inform our legislative strategy going into next session. So thank you all for your input on that. And I'm really excited to talk more later today about the document in front of you. As you all may have noticed today, just wanted for an update on where we are with the rules. Given the just sheer amount of content, the governor's office asked us for a little bit more time for them to review where we are with the rules. So the current plan is to hopefully, if all goes according to plan, have chapters 571 and 573 in front of you in July. That'll obviously set us back on our rule review schedule about an additional meeting. So likely we're targeting to have chapters 575 and 577 in front of you in October. And then our facilities registration rules in front of you in January of 2027. Again, seems crazy to be talking that far out, but that's when we meet quarterly, that's how we've got to look at it. So that is the current schedule there. We hired 3 new staff members who started with us on April 1st. We have a new licensing specialist, Natalie Keast. She comes to us from the nursing board. Right now, she's assisting the team as we start our busy season with new grads. But she will predominantly be working on facilities registration when that gets up and running. And she's also assisting Jared, our director of compliance, with the background checks for applicants. So she's a really nice addition to the team, and want to thank Wendy and her team for getting her onboarded and set up very well. We also hired investigator Brandy Hayes out in the Houston area. She comes to us with decades of experience as a veterinary technician, practice manager, and an inventory manager for veterinary practices. So a really great wealth of experience there. And finally, we hired a second staff veterinarian, Dr. Lori Higginbotham. She's based here in Northwest Austin. Decades of experience in critical care and small animal medicine. So a really nice addition to our team to help us process that significant uptick in complaints we've seen over the last 2 years. So new members of the team and all great additions, and we're lucky to have all of them on board. Additionally, we are working on putting together a webinar on the current regulatory status of alternative therapies. We don't have an exact date on that, but hope everyone will attend, and that'll be sometime in May. So we'll go over where we are currently in terms of regulation and hopefully provide some really helpful information. It is also that time of year. Your personal financial statements are due to the Texas Ethics Commission at the end of this month on April 30th. It is an automatic $500 penalty if those are not filed. So I'm just doing my public service, making sure to remind y'all to get those turned in. And finally, we are in the midst of our efficiency overview with the Texas Regulatory Efficiency Officer Trio, or TREO as they call it, through the governor's office. I want to thank our team for a lot of hard work. Kelly and Kristen have been very instrumental in working on that and getting that office information. We have had really productive conversations with them. I think a lot of the work we've already done on our rule review has really made that process very easy, and they've been very complimentary of us. I want to say the exact quote was something that we got a gold star from them for our work that we've already done on rule review that you guys have already done to help get us there. So making sure that we are as efficient and effective as possible. So things are going very well, and I'm happy to answer any questions. No questions for me. I'll kick it over to Wendy with licensing.
Thank you, Brittany. Good morning. The licensing team is reporting for the second quarter, which is December, January, and February.
far as new licenses issued, we've issued new 103 DVM licenses, 61 LVT licenses, and 4 equine dental provider licenses for a total of 168 licenses issued in those 3 months in the second quarter. For renewals issued, we renewed 2,491 DVM licenses, 601 LVT licenses, and 14 equine dental provider licenses for a total of 3,106 licenses renewed in the second quarter. As far as active agency license counts, I'm counting as active those whose license is in one of the following statuses: active, expired, inactive, suspended, and probated suspended. We don't count as active revoked, retired, surrendered, deceased, or canceled. The total active agency license counts as of February 28th of this year were 11,846 DVM licenses, 3,041 LVT licenses, and 69 EDP licenses for a second quarter and total of 14,956 active licenses, which is an addition of 1,163 licenses since the second quarter of last year. This concludes the licensing report. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Next up, we have Mike Tacker with enforcement.
Good morning, everybody. Through the end of the second quarter, we received 426 complaints. Out of that, 69 were non-jurisdictional. Year to date, we're sitting at 1,078 complaints that have come in. The second quarter, the number one complaint was standard of care allegations. The second top category was practice in veterinary medicine without a license, and then number 3 was records violations. So at the end of the second quarter, we had 195 open investigations. On the inspection side, we completed 401 inspections, opened 24 complaints. To date, we're sitting on 1,062 inspections performed, with 64 complaints being opened from them inspections. And the number one complaint category is controlled drug record keeping. And that concludes the second quarter. Happy to entertain any questions. Dr. Skaggs?
Just looking good, dude.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Kelly Phelps with the legal department.
So as of April 2nd, when these numbers were compiled, we had 442 open complaints in the legal division. The breakdown of those numbers are 91 cases pending board IC, informal conference, 109 pending board action, 33 pending approval of orders, 11 on hold pending civil or criminal proceedings, 60 cases pending staff conference, 14 cases filed at SOA, 9 awaiting a proposal for decision at SOA, and 17 pending SOA filing. Also had 40 cases pending a cease and desist, 57 pending an agreed order, and 1 case pending a licensing committee hearing. After today's board meeting, the projected complaints remaining will be approximately 303. Any questions?
Kelly, on that 91 ICs, that's been creeping back up because of the number that we're receiving. Is that correct?
Yes, so just overall, the amount of complaints we've got has increased quite a bit. And so we're seeing that in the legal, also with the addition of an additional medical reviewer, cases are coming to us quicker. So they've been coming fast and furious.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I will be giving y'all the compliance division report today. Jared could not be with us because he ran the Boston Marathon yesterday in a time just a little bit over 3 hours, which I'm sure he is. I think is a crazy achievement, but he's probably slightly disappointed that he didn't hit that sub 3 hour. But
He didn't beat the Japanese robot.
I'll note that on his performance review. So with the compliance department, Jared currently has 31 licenses that are being monitored regarding board orders. The task of DPS fingerprint validation is continuing to be done daily and will keep continuing. Every licensee will have to have their fingerprints validated every 5 years to make sure that they are still active licenses with us. Staying on the fingerprint topic, Jared's processed 611 total new fingerprints for applicants in FY 2026, with numbers trending to be the highest our agency has ever received. Let's see, Jared has fielded 221 phone calls for compliance, licensing, fingerprints, CE, and general agency related questions from both licensees and applicants. The compliance department has assisted with 109 interagency related requests. And finally, now that CEs are required to be uploaded upon license renewal, an extension may be granted with auditing taking place when extension due dates are expired. While this is being tracked through our database and the compliance is being monitored by Jared, CE extensions have been impressive. We've so far opened 31 cases for CE non-compliance that have been transferred to enforcement for further investigation. And lastly, we have 270 opioid complaints that have been referred to legal for further action this fiscal year. So that is for folks that have not completed that statutorily required 2 hours of controlled substance continuing education in the last 2 years at their renewal.
Brittany, is that going up or going down?
So right now, because we are in the second year of our licensing system, anyone who didn't do it last year, this is the year that they have to do it. So we are seeing a fairly significant uptick in folks that didn't complete it last year that now have to complete it this year. And
So hopefully at the end of this cycle, come August, we'll have gotten to everybody.
yes, that is the goal. So yes, by the end of this fiscal year, we should have hopefully spot checked everyone and made sure that they are getting that statutory requirement done.
Brittany, on that opioid training, it just has to be in that second year, right? So like every 2 years, you've got to have it. So anytime in that second year is fine to get it. There's no time deadlines or anything.
It goes by the year or the date that's marked on the certificate itself.
Okay.
So if you're applying for renewal on 4/21 and your certificate says 4/20/24, that's still usable.
Oh,
Or I
okay.
mean, the other way around. If
Yeah.
you're applying on 4/20, it says 4/21, it's still usable for one more day. So it has to be within 2 years of the date that you applied for renewal.
Okay, so you could take it back to back years and it would count the next
You
cycle.
can take it every year if you want to.
Perfect. So there's really no set deadlines that you've got to do other than just make sure you get it in that 2-year period, right?
Right, whenever you renew, it has to be the date.
Sometime
has to
in the
be
last.
Gotcha.
year.
Thank you so much.
Any questions for Jared? Okay. And then last but certainly not least, Candace with our finance report.
Good morning, everyone. The agency began its third quarter into the fiscal year as of March 1st. Financial activity remains aligned with appropriations, with revenue and expenditures tracking as expected. The agency remains stable in financial position with no concerns at this time. Expenditures are consistent with the fiscal year timeline as of April 1st. We were 50% of our way through the fiscal year and expended 49% of our budget. Licensing and renewal cycles continue to drive steady revenue. No significant shortfalls or variances are anticipated this fiscal year. And if you have any questions?
All right, that concludes our director reports.
Thank you, Brittany. Okay, next we'll move on to agenda item 7, and that's the board committee reports. And I'll start with the executive committee report. I want to thank each board member for your participation in the strategic plan. Obviously, this is a critical strategic step for all of us. I appreciate all the hard work that's been put forth by the board and the staff to thoughtfully conduct this work. As part of this, we held 2 virtual town halls. One was in February and one was in March. Ms. Whitehead, thank you for your time in helping proctor those events. I think we had some very thoughtful and helpful feedback from our stakeholders and the public as we convene on our strategic planning process. It's always good to hear from where they think we need to be as we move on through the next 5-year plan. And finally, I just want to tackle the ever-growing caseload. It looks like we're going to break a record this year with the number of complaints that we receive, and I know the staff's working very hard. I know every board member has given time and energy to get through this case review and through the ICs, but it looks like we've got more work to do. And so Kelly, thank you for getting the calendar set out so we can try to schedule that for the upcoming year, because it takes just as much time to review the cases as it does to give a day to sit in those cases. So board members, we got a lot of work yet coming in front of us, and I thank you for what you've done thus far and look forward to working with all of y'all. And then finally, as y'all know, we're working on our rule review, and I look forward with working with all the stakeholders as we navigate that and taking in all the feedback that was given. It's much appreciated. With that, do I have any other committees that would like to make a report?
Dr. Gola, I can speak on behalf of the Finance Committee. We met a couple weeks ago and reviewed the first quarter financials with Candace and Brittany and the team. We're on track, and our information was included in the financial report from staff. Super happy with where we're at, especially in developing the data management systems that we've been working on, doing so within budget, but continuing to push to utilize the resources we've been appropriated to fulfill our mission.
Thank you, Victoria. Any other committees? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to agenda item 8, discussion, recommendation, and possible action on the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners 2027 to 2031 strategic plan. And for this, I recognize Ms. Sharkey.
Thank you, Dr. Gola. So as you all have heard, we talked a little bit about the process of how we got to this document. So the document in front of you outlines our goals for the next 4 years. I think chief among them is the biggest one that we are looking at is the oversight of veterinary facilities, which came to us through SB 2155, which was passed in the last legislative session. So our goal for really the next year and few years will be implementing, onboarding, and then maintaining this program. So that is really the big focus of our strategic plan for the next couple of years. Additionally, as our complaints continue to increase, there is a focus in goal 2 in terms of making sure that we are efficiently and timely resolving our complaints that we receive. Objective 3 deals with our customer service, both in terms of our communication and outreach goals, and just in how we respond to our licensees and members of the public to contact us. And goal 4 then deals with responsible agency growth. As our licensee population continues to grow, the needs of Texans continue to grow. And we want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the resources given to us. But also making sure that we are still working in as efficient of a manner as possible to grow the agency in a way that makes sense, and doesn't overburden the agency. Because I think if you saw our very explosive growth after the 2023 legislative session, that was a lot for a small agency to sort of onboard. And now we're definitely looking to make sure that we grow at a pace that makes sense for the agency and isn't overwhelming to the staff. So happy to answer any questions or field any further discussion points on these topics, but I thank everyone for their input, and this really was a collaborative process between board, staff, and stakeholders, and we're excited for the direction the agency is taking for the next 4 years. And also a special shout out to Kelly's husband, Josh, who helped us with the graphic design, because that is not a skill set present in anyone on the staff. So we appreciate his abilities there, because that looks far better than something I could have done. So.
And I appreciate you guys' efforts. That is a monumental task and something that I think is very good for this agency that we're doing that. I appreciate it.
Brittany, or Dr. Gola, can I just add a couple comments on this strategic goal development and process? The Zoom calls were super valuable, and I really appreciated everyone who took time to hop on and provide feedback for us. You know, I think sometimes we get a narrative that we're not responsive, or things just spring up, and there's a lot of processes in place. There's a 24/7 spot on our website where people can submit content and information to the board. So I'm grateful for the people that showed up and provided comments. I do think we as a board just have to be strategic in looking at our communications and how we communicate out, not only to the veterinarian community, but also the public, in what veterinary practice and standard of care looks like. We're having a huge string of complaints about people practicing veterinary medicine without a license. And a common theme that we're also seeing is veterinarians not wanting to make complaints because they don't feel that it is private. Or they live in a small community and they'll get public backlash for turning in somebody who's practicing veterinary medicine without a license. And so I just want to reiterate from those comments that we received that the process is safe and secure. And Brittany can add in any comments that she has on that, but we can't do our job of enforcement unless complaints are filed. And we also understand and realize too that while we have a duty, we need to be probably a little bit better on communicating to the veterinarian community what the rules are. And I know we've done a good job in expanding that through board notes and different things. But I also think meeting our constituencies where they're at matters. We discussed a couple things such as, educational videos on YouTube, having a bigger presence maybe at continuing education, stronger presence maybe when folks are graduating, and making sure that that relationship is built and there. And so I think the other half of that is also just educating the public too. And so looking at YouTube, looking at different things, how can we be more transparent, is some of the goals that I heard, and we're thankful for hearing, because I think those, while we've done a good job, we've come a long way since I joined the board in 2020. There's a lot more we can do and grow. And so thankful for y'all's partnership, and thank you, Brittany, for hosting those Zooms. I enjoyed sitting on those and hearing the comments.
Any other comments? Okay, do I have a motion to approve or disapprove the strategic plan draft?
Move.
To approve?
To approve.
Move to approve.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the strategic plan draft. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Okay, motion carries. Thank y'all very much for that. That was a lot of hard work and a lot of input that was given, and very much appreciate that. Okay, next up, we're going to move to agenda item number 9, consideration and approval of agreed orders. The chair recognizes Mrs. Phelps on this.
Thank you, Dr. Zola. Dr. Skaggs and Dr. Muchigamba are recused from voting on case CP 25691. Would any additional board members like to be recused from voting on any of these cases or pull any of them for discussion in executive session?
I'd like to recuse from 25-691 as well.
Anyone else?
You're up.
Ms. Phelps, anything else?
Any other refusals or executive?
This is again for agreed orders.
This is for agreed orders, correct?
Is there a motion to approve all the cases except those identified as Ms. Phelps for discussion in executive session?
Motion.
Second.
No, we didn't.
We didn't pull any.
Just
No.
refuse.
Just recused.
Okay, just refused. All right, well then, any motion to approve all the cases?
Move.
Okay, it's been moved in second for approval of all the cases on agenda item number 9 for agreed orders. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Ms. Phelps, I recognize you again for agenda item number 10, consideration of approval of cases recommended for dismissal from informal conference.
With these cases, aside from the recusals noted on the agenda, would any board members like to be recused from voting on any of these cases or pull any of them for discussion in an executive session? Yes. Yeah. no.
Recuse.
On what case?
24291.
Got it. Anyone else?
Do we have any cases pulled for executive session?
We do not.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve all the cases for dismissal from informal conference?
Move to approve.
It's been moved and seconded to approve all the cases to dismissal from informal conference. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 11, consideration and approval of cases recommended for dismissal from staff conference. Ms. Phelps, I recognize you for this item.
The board has pulled case CP 24596 for discussion during executive session. Would any board members like to be recused from voting on any of these cases or pull any additional cases for discussion in executive session?
I recuse 25580.
Kelly, I recuse 25532.
Got it. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, is there a motion to approve all cases except for CP 24596? Is that correct? For dismissal from staff conference.
Move to approve.
Second. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 12, consideration of approval of cases recommended for dismissal from medical review. Ms. Phelps?
The board has requested to pull cases CP 25372 and CP 25383 for discussion during executive session. Additionally, Dr. Michiganda is recused from voting on case CP 25405. Would any board members like to be recused from it, voting on any of these cases, or pull any more of them for discussion during executive session?
No, but can you repeat what the cases were?
Executive session case polls are CP 25372 and CP 25383.
Okay, is there a motion to approve all cases except CP 25372 and CP 25383?
I move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, pursuant to chapter 551.071 subsection 1 of the Texas Government Code, this meeting of the Texas Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners will now go into executive session at 10:26 a.m. Okay, thank you, guys. We're going to go into executive session. 571 of the Texas Government Code, the board is returned from executive session. No action was taken in the executive session. And so we're going to move on to back up, take care of some cases that were pulled. And the first one we're going to start with is CP 24-596. That was pulled for dismissal from staff conference. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to reject.
I move that we dismiss it for voluntary compliance.
Okay, you were first.
Reject.
So your motion is to reject the dismissal.
Correct.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second from Victoria. Now it's open for discussion. Okay, hearing no discussion.
Do,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Victoria. You got something?
clarifying CP 24-596, the motion is to reject the dismissal and send it to SOA, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I feel we should send this to SOA. I think there's an issue here, particularly with where you have specialty clinics and practitioners in specialty clinics. And when a member of the public walks into a specialty clinic, they expect a specialty veterinarian, and where that is not clear, I think we have some issues, and I think this is prime for SOA.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next up, we're going to move to CP 25-372. This was pulled from dismissal from medical review. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move it to informal conference.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to take CP 25-372 to remove from dismissal and move it to a informal conference. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This case will be pulled and sent to informal conference. And finally, CP 25-383. Do we have a motion?
I move we pull it for informal conference.
I have a motion that it be sent to informal conference.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Just for clarification, attorneys, this one has not been to informal conference yet.
Correct.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, let's do it different. So raise your right hand, please raise your right hand. Okay, 6. All opposed? Okay, motion carries and it will be sent to informal conference. Okay, with that, that gets us down to our agenda item number 14, discuss possible agenda items and dates for future board meetings. I would just say to finish out our annual year, we've got the next board meeting be July 21st, 2026 and October 20th, 2026. Those are subject to change. Something conflict happened, but as of now, those are the dates. And if they do change, we will give you appropriate time and announcement. But does anybody have any future items they'd like to discuss?
Dr. Gola, can we clarify if we anticipate bringing any rules discussions up at that July meeting, what subject matters those might be so that we can provide the public plenty of notice of those topic areas so that we can try to have an effective timeline with reviewing these rules and getting public feedback on them?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate, Victoria. We're waiting for comment back from the governor's office, as Brittany had alluded to. And so as they give us guidance, as soon as we get that, we can make that public so that the public is completely aware of when those rules will be coming back on our agenda.
And if the public wants to comment, Brittany, what's the best way for them to do so?
So we have a dedicated inbox, comment at veterinary.texas.gov. And so comments can be submitted at any point, at any time to that inbox for our review.
Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Anything else, board members? Okay, hearing none, the time being 11:25 a.m., this meeting is adjourned.